Hi folks, my name is Vivi and I'm gonna go over my animation process for my senior thesis film, Shuffle. I figured out a workflow to speed things up, so here's some things I learned and did. 1. I used a lot of references and focused on poses. So for every single scene, I took many video references. In the dance sequence, I just filmed myself freestyling to some K-pop songs and then mashed up the dance moves for the final sequence. So filming all these references helped me figure out the main poses and motion. 2. I skipped the line art, and lasso tool is my best friend. So once I had all the poses drawn out, I went straight into animating with color. Here's the style guide that I made for my animation. It's blocky shapes with some stray lines around the edges. I used the lasso tool and lasso polygon tool to block out the main shapes. And then I use a rough pencil around the edges of the shapes to add more variety, and then sometimes I use it to intensify the expression. 3. Gradient maps. So the gradient maps really help me change colors easily. First, I did the character sheets in grayscale, and then I applied a gradient map to the grayscale. In the gradient map, I can modify what colors I want for the darkest value all the way up to the lightest value. In this instance, the office area environment is this very cool tone teal color, so the character is a very cool tone teal color. I made gradient maps for the characters in different lighting environments, and when I go to animate, I pretty much copy and paste these gradient maps onto the grayscale animations. 4. Animation workflow. I do all my animations in Clip Studio Paint, and I have the grayscale character sheet in the subview. When I hover my cursor over into the subview, it automatically changes to an eyedropper tool, and I can just select any of the gray colors. So in the layers, I have my character animation folder where I put in all the frames, and then clipped on top of that folder is the gradient map. So whenever I draw any gray value, it becomes one of the colors in that gradient map. I color pick the gray color that's supposed to be the skin color, and then I use the lasso tool to select the shape of the skin, so like the face or the hands, and then I bucket in the base color. Afterwards, I will color pick the gray color for the skin shadows and then switch into this brush to add shading for the skin. After I finish all the skin, I move on to the hair and the clothes using the same method. I just lasso tool, pick the color, bucket in the color, add shading. 5. I did a lot of bouncy animation. So for quick movements that has two main poses, I would just copy and paste the poses and then stretch them in one direction or the other. This makes the motion a lot more bouncy. 6. Animate on a BPM. While my music composer was working on the soundtrack, I animated on the same BPM as the soundtrack. And in the timeline, I added an audio track and imported the BPM. I make sure that it is, I think, 16 bits, otherwise it wouldn't work. Animating on the BPM helps me figure out the timing, and once the soundtrack was complete, it already synced up to the animation. 7. Compositing. So I composited everything in After Effects. First, I exported my scenes as image sequences, and then I imported the image sequence and then interpolated it to be the correct frame rate. And I made a composition for each scene. And in the composition would be the image sequence, and then on top of that is an adjustment layer with effects I wanted to add. The main effect that I used was roughen edges, which makes the animation more wobbly and jittery, which I enjoy. I would make another final composition that has all the scenes in it and then the audio track below. So that was a rundown of my animation process. Hopefully some of this was helpful to speed up animation, and I'm going to continue exploring and testing out new animation styles. So see you next time.